Hi everyone, welcome back to the Far Out Wisdom Podcast. I woke up this morning and I felt a little bit anxious. It's December 16th, so Christmas is next week. And I guess I'm feeling all the energy of the people who's feeling anxiety. I'm feeling panicky, and with everything's going on, I feel like I'm not in control of the situation. And as you guys know, that we are dealing with not the passing, but we are preparing for the passing of a family member. And over the years that I have learned about philosophy, I have never found anything that will calm me down in a situation like this. And I totally forgot about Stoicism. The Stoics were very interesting. So I'm going to look up Stoicism, the definition of Stoicism. Sorry about that. I should have had this on my screen, but so Stoicism is defined as the endurance of pain or hardship without the display of feelings and without complaints. Now, I know it sounds like really like a person, I've got that word, but it feels like somebody who's like a rock and they have no feelings or anything like that. But as a person who has been dealing with a lot of emotion in her past, you get kind of tired after a while. And so with Stoicism, it has taught me a lot about endurance and how to deal with pain and suffering and things like that. And I think I have introduced this to my sister as well because of the fact that she's very empathic in comparison to me. I'm empathic as well, but I can actually turn mine off if I want to. But with her, she feels things 20 times worse than I do. And going back, I was feeling really anxious. I feel like I'm not under control. I need to relax a little bit. Then I totally, and I this just came to me, and it's from Marcus Aurelius, and he wrote this in meditation. So he wrote this for himself, and he didn't mean for it to get published. But Marcus Aurelius doesn't realize that his wisdom has helped people like me and many others over the years to deal with their hardship. So I'm going to play a little portion of one of my favorite portion from the book.
When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be ungrateful, violent, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and greedy. All of these things have come upon them through ignorance of good and evil. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that their nature is the same as my own. Not the same blood or birth, but the same mind. I can't be harmed by any of them, for no one can make me do wrong, and I can't be angry with them or hate them, for we have come into the world to work together.
So yeah, that's one of my favorite part from the book. And I have to remind myself that the one thing that really bothers me about people is the fact of how much of a fucking dick people are to each other. And I was raised to always be polite, always say please, thank you, think about other people. And you have to remember this, that I was raised Buddhist, so we have to think about our actions and our consequences, the way that we live our lives. What the West is all about individualism, which is a good thing. But at the same time, but we have been seeing a rise in narcissism. And Marcus Aurelius was pretty much telling us that we cannot control the things. Basically, try to control the things you can't control and let go of the things you cannot control. And that's in the beginning when he said people are always going to be ungrateful. People are always going to be assholes. People are always going to be dicks. There will always be crime. There will always be pain and suffering. The best thing you can do is live your life and try to understand the situation, but at the same time, try to endure it. I'm not saying don't do anything about it, because of the fact that there are things that you can control, like the things around you. I mean, about your relationship and things like that. You can work on your relationship, but stop worrying about what other people are doing and worry about yourself. Now that sounds pretty selfish, but in the process, things will going to happen anyways. I used to get worried a lot. Like, for example, in our culture, we have this idea of superstition. Like, I remember my older sister, my other one, she said that her left eye was twitching. She goes, "Oh my God, bad things gonna happen." And I ask her, I go, "You know what? Maybe your eyes are just dry, or you're having allergies and things like that." And she said, "You know what? You're right. I mean, regardless if my eye twitches or not, shit is always gonna happen to me. And this is all dependent of how I'm going to react to it." The Stoic teaches you that it's on you how you react to this situation. Don't make things worse than it really is. So, preparing for our grandmother's death, I could make a big fucking deal out of it and start crying and throwing a fit and just throwing myself to the ground during the funeral. But what is that going to do? That's going to make me feel better, but at the same time, how is it going to make other people feel better, especially Jeremy and my in-laws? So the best thing that I could do is to take the situation in. And this is what they teach you in therapy and stuff like that. It's called CBT. It's cognitive behavioral therapy. They teach you how to deal with the situation and allow it to happen. Because worrying about things that's not going to happen per se, all it's going to do is deplete you of your energy, and you're going to end up feeling like shit anyway. So what's the point of worrying about something that you think it's going to happen when in fact, majority of the time it doesn't happen anyways? I have that problem in my life, and my other sister, she has that problem too. We tend to overthink things and overanalyze things, which is a good thing. But at the same time, that can be called rumination. So we worry about things over and over again. And that's what people who have depression tends to do. We tend to chew things over and over again to the point that it's mentally exhausting, and we don't have the energy to do anything anymore. And that's what the Stoics is doing. The Stoics are trying to kind of teach the individual to understand that existence is pain and suffering. Is it a bad thing? Obviously it is. But at the same time, over the years and over the centuries, we have always treated each other like shit and things like that. And there's always going to be dicks and assholes. And the best thing the Stoics is teaching you is to understand that trying to control the world or trying to control Mother Earth or nature or whatever is just going to exhaust you, because you're just a human, a limited human being. You're not Superman. You're not Superwoman. And we have to like constantly remind ourselves that we can't do everything, and that's okay. I'm not saying don't try, but I'm saying this: take things or every day by strides. And so I have to remind myself this, due to the fact that I do suffer from anxiety, and I get really anxious really fast. And I tend to overthink things. I feel hopeless. I feel nihilistic some days. Just the basic or the common everyday human emotion. And right now, as I'm recording this podcast, I'm just like rubbing my eyes and, just had my cup of coffee. And I said, you know what? Let things be. Let things happen. And it helps. It really does. And I'm very grateful that I have come across Stoicism because of the fact that it helps me. People have said that it's Buddha, the Western version of Buddhism, which it makes sense. And I could in future episodes I can talk about the comparison of Stoicism and Buddhism, but we have to learn to let things go. And that's my problem that I have. I have never learned to let things go. I hold on to it to the point that it eats me inside. And I'm not the only one that does this. We see other people do it as well. I'm not the only one in the world. And I have to remind myself that people tend to have it worse. I'm not using their suffering or pain to make myself feel better, but I have to understand that being grateful for the things that I have now is a way for me to cope with my situation. And to cope with the death that's fast approaching of a family member. And I need to learn how to, I never really understood what people are saying when they say, hey, stop and smell the flowers. I get it now. I have allergies. I'm like, why the fuck am I going to stop and smell the flowers? I'm going to have an allergic reaction. But it's not telling you literally to stop and smell the flowers. It's telling you to stop and enjoy the moment. And I'm glad I finally understood what Marcus Aurelius was trying to say. And that saying to stop and smell the flowers. Because I never really understood that. I never really get it. I'm like, I have to be like tense all the times and be prepared for something. And I feel like every day I feel guilty when I get up that I'm not doing enough. But I was like, hey man, let's chill out. And I'm not the only one that feels this way. I have friends who are worse than me. There is to the point where they overthink things, to the point they become paranoid, to the point they become exhausted, to the point they can't even do anything anymore. Because it's so debilitating, And I have come to the realization that I'm learning to accept the negativity in my life. However, I am learning to tone down that negativity and try to embrace it into my life as well, instead of trying to push it back. And I think that's the balance of the yin and yang. Order and chaos. And that's everything. The universe is order and chaos. Mother Nature is order and chaos. So why not us? So I'm accepting the good things and the bad things in life. Because if I'm too ippity and happy, I'm being naive. If I'm too dark and deep and depressed, that's nihilism. So a little bit of both into my life and balance it. And I'm passing this wisdom on to you and telling you to balance you. Balance your yin and yang. Balance that energy. And realize or understand that there are some things that you cannot explain. So that's it for it, guys, for today's episode. And as always, guys, stay far out.